backer to the channel. We're back on that coffee table. We're almost done. So the back side or the front top of this has been already varnished. I did mix some varnish and stain together to give it a little bit of a deeper look. This is not done yet, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do another coat on top of this. We're going to let it dry. Then what we'll do is once everything's 100% dry, I will assemble everything. I'll give it a light dusting with some quadruple steel wool. So the steel wood is that. And what this stuff is they do it by zeros. So the 4-0 is the finest you can get. I'm assuming so. Anyway, it's extra fine. What we'll do is we'll go over it once it's 100% dry lightly, and then we'll give it the final coat of a matte varnish, and we should be ready to rock and roll. Now I removed the tape on these, and you can see that. You'll see that it's wood. I wanted it that way. Reason being is when I put back the mount, I know where I'm at. Line it up with that, screw it in, and we're good to go. So I'm just got this brush taken out of the varnish, not varnish, aerosol. I want it to dry up a little bit before we use it. So I'm just trying to get it to suck some of that remover out of there before we go ahead and put a coat on anything. So I gotta give it a minute or so to dry, and then we're ready to rock and roll. So I'll show you guys how I do this, how I put that on. I did go over this with steel wool around the edges, but the top side was all done. So now it's just a matter of giving it its final coat on this. Now I'm not really too concerned about the bottom. I mean, you want it to look nice, and also this, but it's not the the main focus. Of course, the inside of the container has got to look good, because that's where will be our storage, right? So just let's let that dry for a few minutes, and then we'll get right to it. Okay, guys, I'm gonna get this opened. Should be good. Brush should be good. So this again is a little bit of varnish, or varnish with a little bit of stain in it, just to darken it. So the game plan is you want to put this on and you want to go with the grain and try to get it as even as you can. I might have to mix more. I don't need a lot, but you can see that I'm starting to get a darker look to it. Now this will deepen the look. We just got to make sure this thing doesn't tip on me. And if you go across the grain, you will see it. I don't like the shaking this thing is doing today. So we're just gonna lightly go over, make sure. And then I'll do that with my brush. Make sure that there's no brush marks, and all with the grain. Oh, we're good. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry. We deepened it up. Now we're gonna do the top of this over again, just to even things out. I'm gonna start in the middle. Just to give it a little bit of a darker look. Now this will always give us a little bit of a different look because this is maple. But that's okay, because it's underneath. Make sure we're getting more of an even look there, guys. And what I'll do is I'm just going to put a little bit on the edge. The edge is still pretty rough. Looking pretty good. And that's deepened that up quite nicely. Okay, so we're going to just let that dry. And then once that's dry, it's going to take a little longer to dry because it's cooler in here today. I mean, with the heater, just with the electric heater, I'm actually not too bad. I'm plus 11, so it's not horrible. But the cooler it is, the longer it takes it to dry. Now we're going to need this brush. I'm trying not to mess up the bristles. We need that brush to do the final coat. Now the final coat, when I do the final coat, it will be just straight varnish. And hopefully it'll matte out a little bit more. I will go over the whole shell of it again with some steel wool, wipe her down, let it dry, and then go from there. So let this dry up a bit, and then we'll put the hinge in. We'll get that all mounted in, and then we'll get the top on, and then we'll go ahead and steel wool the whole thing, and then go from there. Okay guys, so I got the table up on its side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give this bottom piece another coat of the stain and varnish combined. I've got myself some felt pads, which are going to go over each hole. I'll show you what I do with those. The larger ones are going to work out beautiful. But what I want to do is I want to seal this one more time, I guess, put a little bit more varnish on it. And I want to seal the edge just to make sure that it's going to hold well. So let's give that a quick coat and we'll get these rubber feet on. Let me clean this brush. And I put some clean paper on there. Use this towel for now. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to give its final coat. I'll put everything together, and then we'll do its final coat once it's all together. I'm happy with everything else. Do have a little bit left, which is good. Just hoping that what it'll do is it'll even out this color here a bit, because right now it's not that even. That's better. And it's a little easier to see. And then what it'll do is also, with the laminate that's on the side, it'll add a little bit of strength to the laminate in the sense of that it'll seal the corner. Is it a must? Not really. Is it just me being overdone? Sometimes. but that's okay. There we go. I feel like that one's just a tad light. That's where the seam is. That's gonna. Is there a hair on there? There is too. Look at that. Did I get it out? I did. Okay. That's a little better. Sorry guys about my back. But what I did is I just around the edge, you know, this does harden. Does add a little bit of protection. You know, you're mopping the floor, you're cleaning the floor, you're smacking up against it. You know, a whole bunch of different scenarios. I mean, not that I think it'll ruin it, but better to have a little extra seal on it. That should do it. Just around the corners. I don't have to do the bottom. It's just a total waste of time. Okay, so I've got my super glue. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do with that. Let me get a blade. These are pretty big. So I'm not going to cut open the whole thing. I'm just going to cut open the section I need. What do we got here? We got 4. Perfect. Now these are big enough to actually cover the hole, which is awesome. So what I like to do with these, I'll peel them off. And what I like to do is add just a drop of super glue. Not a lot, but I'll add a drop on every, 4 corners type of deal. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then of course the sticky pad's on there, right? So what I want to do is I want to go as close as possible to the edge. And that covers the hole. And we'll just repeat. This way, if we want to move the table, I know the super glue will help a bit. So I could cover right dead center of the hole, but what I'm going to do is go off slightly center, a little closer to the edge, like so. I got that bottom sealed, which is good. 1. There we go. Want the bottom and we're good. Then we'll get this back on its base and we'll assemble. But I figure since I had it up here this way now, might as well do all this and get it out of the way. There we go. Now once that super glue dries up, she'll hold up pretty tight and won't come off. Hopefully not. I mean, the sticky pad itself will help, but super glue will ensure that it won't come off. Now, you don't want to do a lot because if just in case you ever have to replace them, they do wear out if you move the table a lot. So you don't want to go too crazy and put too much glue on that, but just enough to hold it. All right, let's get this table standing or up higher. So what I did is I got some steel piping that I have extra pieces. I'm going to try to get it somewhat centered. I should do it. Now these are high enough that, of course, will give me some clearance off the table. So let's move this guy out of the way. So stop it from rolling. This guy out of the way. And we're good. Do I have enough clearance? I do, which is good. All right, so let's try to get this lined up so it's easier to install our top. How's that other piece? That's good. Okay, I think we're going to be okay. Okay, guys, so I got the hinge on. The only issue I'm having is I feel it's pretty wobbly. Not stable enough. So I'm going to take this hinge out. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and move it and put the sticks under. So let's get these sticks under. I'm going to remove the metal that I put under there. Thought it would work out, but I'm not happy. I'm worried that it's going to tip. I don't want to do all that work and drop this thing now. That wouldn't be good. Oh yeah, much better. Much better. And all I need is the 2 sticks. I never throw away my square tubing. All right. I think we're good. I don't think we need the other sticks. Yeah, she's good. And those sticks will be great for some firewood later. All right, let's get this guy back in there. Well, we'll get the first one in. So the game plan is to get this put back in. Where I originally had it. That's why I left that tape under the bottom piece, if you guys remember. Nice and tight. I think 3 screws are going to be more than plenty. I'm wondering if I should. No, I think 3 is going to be good, more than enough. The original holes that were there when we did the test fit. There we go. That's nice and sturdy. Okay. So now we're going to get that top on. Now before we get the top, actually I'll get the top on. There's screws that got to go into this actual unit. There's self-tappers. But once we get them in, and it'll stop this from moving back and forth. But I'll screw the top in first, then we'll put the self-tappers in. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there's one under here. It'll stop this thing from moving back and forth. And there's one right in here, which is awesome. Okay, so here comes the fun part. Now, if you remember, I had a mark on here, and that's where we know that lifts that way. So this has got to come to the back end of this table. And yeah, that's the fun part, getting this thing on there without ruining it. Oh, and it's heavy. Now the mark is right here. We're nowhere near yet. Do another turn. We're getting close. We're getting very close. Okay. So where are we? Now we just gotta move her around. Come around the other side. Way over. We gotta move this thing way over. I think we're almost on it. Holes here. So what I might end up doing is getting the one in first. A little risky walking away from it, but I'll take a seat underneath it. I'll feel more comfortable just in case she decides to come down. I can grab it. Let's grab some screws. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I can see it better now. Pretty well where it's at. So I'm going to go get a pick, and I'll find myself that hole that I was in, or the original screw hole. Need a straight pick. Now, of course, when you're looking for stuff, well, I don't have the straight one with me, but I have a bent one. I'll use that one, I guess. Why can't I see anything? There we go. Slightly get that screw in. I won't torque it in. Slightly put it in there. Now let's go try to move the other one around a bit. Make sure we touch that up a bit. Let's see if I get the other one to line up. We're right on that one. Put that one in, we'll torque it. Not torque it, but just slightly snug it in. Oh, what happened? Seems to be pretty good. Now we're going to do the back sides, but before I do that, let me torque this in and we'll do a close and see if everything's sitting the way it's supposed to be before we go ahead and start putting more screws in. Let's do a close. Not bad. Looks pretty even. If anything, I think it's got to come this way a bit. Okay, so let's open it. How's this and this? Back sides. Back sides are perfect. It's this side that's off a bit. Open. So we got to loosen and just tug a bit the other way. This is why I didn't want to put more screws in until I was ready. Loosen. Just slightly loosen. Just twist a bit. And we should be and then we're going to do another test run again, guys, just to make sure. Okay, let's do it again. Oh, we're good. We're good. Perfect. Nice. Okay, so we're going to open this guy up again. And we'll put the remaining screws in. And then we'll get ready to lightly scuff with some steel wool. And then we'll put the final coat of varnish on it. Let me try to open this up again. Where did I put that drill? There it is. go. Torque. Torqued. And one shot of torque. There we go. She's torqued in. Now, there's a screw that's got to go in here. On that, you know, the piece that I opened up? There's a screw that stops it from moving. I don't remember if it's a square head or a Robinson. So we'll put that screw in, and that'll stop it from moving. I'm wondering if I should put another screw in this. Showing another 2 in here, but I don't think we need that. I don't like where those screws are situated either. Okay, so let me get a different bit. What do we get? A smaller one or a larger one? That's a larger one. Okay. Wow, broke a sweat here, guys. There we go. That was pretty simple. And that'll hold that bar from moving back and forth. Nice. Nice coat of varnish. And we're going to call it a day on this one. So now we'll get ourselves some nice clean steel wool. And we're just going to give it a quick light scuff. Okay, we did the open face, which is good. We'll get a clean towel. This one we'll use to wipe her down. And just lightly with dry. Like so. A lot of going back and forth. Nice. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and give her a wipe down. Nice. So if you guys are wondering what I'm using, believe it or not, I'm using Windex. I'm using the mix ratio is actually 3/4 Windex, 1 part water. And so a 3-to-1. I've always done that as a degreaser. I've always done it when I'm doing my paint, powder coating. I've always used it. Works well. It's inexpensive and it works really well. I buy the big 4-liter thing at Costco and I use it all the time. Now, some guys will tell you, oh no, you can't do that. I've heard guys using pine sol. I've heard you guys using, there's prep ball. There's all kinds of different stuff you guys can use. Uh, you know, this is gentle enough that it'll protect, won't strip everything down. It'll clean everything. Only thing is it's got to be 100% dry. So we got to lift this up a bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this counter up again. Then I'm just going to lay that on that stick there and that on there. And then we're just going to lower it down onto those, nice and easy. And it's going to give me a little bit of height. And I'm just going to wipe the underneath. Okay. So guys, we got to let that dry. It's got to be 100% dry. But we'll let it dry up for a bit. And then we'll proceed with doing our final coat. Okay guys, so she's dry. I gave this thing a good shake. So this is, again, remember, it's the mat, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to open it. I'm going to show you what I'm going to use. So I'm actually going to use a sponge roller. And I got myself a new brush. So I can go in between the slots, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sponge roller on and then make sure I wipe off any excess in between the slots. And that should give us a final matte finish. I think I got an extra stir stick here. So we're just going to make sure that I got all this mixed up well. So because it's a matte finish, I'm pretty sure they put silica in it to get it to be matte. And it has a tendency to settle to the bottom. So you want to make sure you mix it. Now, I've seen guys say, no, you don't need to mix it. You get bubbles, air bubbles in it. You get this in it. I don't know. If I don't mix and I just kind of lightly shake it and put it on, I find that I'm getting to a position where I'm getting a more of a gloss finish than I am actual matte. So it's interesting. Anyway, so I got my roller and just lightly apply. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay away from the edge. I'm just going to try to get it on as even as I can. You don't need a thick coat of this. You just need it on even. I will lift the top after when I do the sides. I just want to make sure I get a good view of what I'm doing. Really saturate your sponge. And I'm going with the grain of the wood again, guys, except on the edges. It's a little warmer today in here, so it's good. So a couple of years ago, I had tried to do another project with some stain, and the finish was slightly glossy. And I took advice from some guy online to use acetone. Now, acetone definitely will dull things down, but it also made it a sticky mess. So my advice is you're better off buying yourself something that is designed to mat down things. I've seen guys do baby powder. I don't know. I'm not willing to take that chance on the project. I just feel like I've worked so hard and so much time and effort that I'd rather not. Now, I've also read that you can buy products that you can actually add to your varnish to make it more matte. That might be an idea. But in that case, I'd always would want to do a test piece just to see how matte it actually is. Now, what I noticed when I've done my kitchen table is that if you use a sponge roller like this and get it on as even as you can, a really light coat, I find that you get more of an even look, not as blotchy. And you're going to get it spread out more even in comparison to doing a brush. Now, you can argue that fact with me or argue with that fact that it's better with a brush. Now, I did do the first couple of coats with a brush. Now, my final coat, I'm going to do it with this. I just get better. I find I get better results. I mean, you guys could do whatever you guys are comfortable with. All right, let's saturate that roller again. And just go completely right around, guys. There you go, guys. Second coat, she's looking real good. Give it a second coat. Really want to make sure the top is protected. Being a coffee table, I'm sure will be lots of coffee cups and so forth. If you take a look at the ground here, you'll notice I've got some table ends. That is my kitchen table ends. I went ahead and gave them a coat of varnish, matte varnish. Just figure freshen them up a little bit. You guys notice that I've been using the Sanitube quite a bit in the shop. That is actually for another project. It's going to make into a side table for the family room that matches the coffee table. I'm not sure if you guys want to watch a video on that. If you guys do, message me or send make a comment, and I will definitely make a video on that. It's going to be pretty straightforward, but if you guys want to see it, definitely message me or make a comment, and I will make a video on that. So once this is all dried up, these ends have dried up real nice. I just gave that a second coat. So we'll give it an hour or so and take a look. Once I get it dried, and we'll bring it on in, and I'll show you what it looks like in the room. There you go, guys. The table's here and it's looking great. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making this coffee table. Please consider subscribing. It truly would help me out. And if you like, throw me a thumbs up. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.